What's up, guys? Today, I want to do a new type of video. I want to see how Islam stacks up against the rest of the welterweight division. What really got me thinking about this was actually last weekend's fights, Protez versus JDM. I see a lot of people saying after those fights, Protez should be next for the title shot. A lot of people saying Ian Gary should be next. He beat Protez. A lot of people saying Michael Morales should be next. He beat Sean Brady so dominantly. And I really want to get to the bottom of who is the hardest test for Islam at welterweight and who I think should be next. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to go 15 to number 1. This is not ranked, by the way. This is from the UFC rankings is how we're going to go through this. So at number 15, we have D-Rod. D-Rod, I think he has no chance. He's not shown good defensive grappling ever in his career, besides maybe in some parts against Kevin Holland. But even then, he was almost subbed by Kevin Holland. And it wasn't Kevin Holland's usual fluky subs. It was actually kind of a technical out-grappling at points until he got reversed by Kevin Holland that almost led to a sub of D-Rod. And I just don't think D-Rod is that great of a striker. Obviously, he has to be okay to get to the rankings. He knocked out Ponzinibbio, rocked Kevin Holland, only person to really ever drop him in his career besides from a headbutt or a slip. So I guess he has okay power, but he's not really shown that enough for me to say he has any chance against Islam. And I really do think Islam is a better striker than him on the feet. And he would very easily, if he didn't even want to strike, I think he could just take down D-Rod and sub him in the first round. So no chance for D-Rod. Up next, we have Yaroslav Amosov. Now, for this, I say a slight chance, but it's also to be determined after this weekend's fights, because I'm not really sure how this would go, to be honest. He has great grappling. He subbed Neil Magny in the first round pretty easily, too. His first takedown he shot, I believe he got, and he went straight to a submission very easily, very quickly. He got it easier than Shavkat did, to be honest, actually. And I've seen training footage of him taking down Khamzat Chimaev in training. Khamzat was trying to take him down, trying to put him in a front, some sort of front choke, but he couldn't get the takedown on Yaroslav, and Yaroslav was able to take him down. Now, this footage was from 2021, but Yaroslav has probably also improved, just like Khamzat has as well. He's only 33 years old at welterweight. That's not super old. He's probably in his prime right now, but I say slight chance because I haven't seen it proven in the UFC yet. Yeah, he subbed Magny. Yeah, he grappled good with Khamzat in training, but training is training. Magny is Magny. I have to see what he does this weekend before I make my decision. And he doesn't have the best striking. Again, I think Islam could just outstrike him on the feet. So slight chance, but maybe that'll be raised after this weekend. All right, now we have MVP. I say low chance for MVP. I'm not sure if he has a higher or a lower chance than Amazon. Probably lower, but he does have a slight chance. He's a great striker, great movement and footwork. That could pose problems for Islam trying to track him down, especially as the much smaller guy than MVP. But MVP has been taken down by everyone who's tried, and he nearly got subbed by Ian Gary and Kevin Holland. In both of those fights, if they had just put a little more strength into it, had a little bit better technique, they definitely would have gotten it. Ian Gary had the choke. He just wasn't strong enough to complete it. And he was taken down and controlled for an entire round by Cannonier. Yes, it started from a slip, I believe, but I just believe Islam, if these guys can do that to him, I think Islam would be able to take him down and sub him. Cannonier has never shown great submissions. He's good at getting on top and dropping ground and pound. Michael Venom Page is great at stopping ground and pound because he has big hands, able to control the hands, but Islam is not the biggest ground and pound threat against these high-level guys. He's mostly going for submissions, and MVP has not shown great submission defense. So a low chance. Of course, anything could happen, but MVP isn't too dangerous in the UFC either. Hasn't knocked anyone out. I think I have Islam taking that pretty easily. Now we have Earls Medic. I think Earls Medic has a fluke chance. He's very dangerous on the feet, big power, but he's also not shown to be an elite striker. He's been knocked out. He's been outstruck. He's not shown elite grappling as well. Not even really shown good grappling. Subbed pretty easily by Jalen Turner and Oralby. And I believe there was someone who was pretty easily out-grappling him in the UFC until he finished them. But I think if these guys can sub you, then Islam definitely can as well. Not to play MMA math, but Islam is a great grappler. And Earls Medic has only really defeated strikers on the feet. And if he has defeated grapplers, none of them have been at an elite level. I think Islam would finish him pretty easily, but there's always the fluke chance with big power. But yeah, it would have to be a fluke. Mike Malott, I said Mike Malott has a low chance at doing anything against Islam. He has decent grappling, he has decent striking, but neither are too dangerous, neither are too elite, in my opinion. Went 3 rounds with ancient Gilbert Burns when other guys have finished him much easier. And this Gilbert Burns is way worse than the Gilbert Burns who fought JDM. I think the JDM fight is what broke Gilbert Burns, and Mike Malott was still not able to finish him in the first 2 rounds. Went to a competitive third round TKO with him. I've never seen anything that's impressive from Mike Malott. And it's not like he's going to get too much better. He's 34 years old. He's just exiting his prime. I know welterweights have a slightly longer prime, but the oldest welterweight champ, I believe, was Usman or Bilal. Both of them were 36 years old as champs. That is a pretty fine line of 34, 35 is still, even at welterweight, on the older side. I do think he'll only get worse from here on out in terms of being in his prime. And he was ground and pound TKO'd by Neil Magny. And a lot of people say he was dominating that fight. And I agree. He was dominating until he got exhausted and ground and pound TKO'd by Magny. But that's also his highest grappling pace fight he's had. His highest, the most grappling he's done in a fight. And I think that's what exhausted him. I don't know how good his grappling cardio is. It's pretty untested in terms of, consistent grappling, except in the Magny fight where he gassed very bad. He basically quit at the end of that 3rd round against Magny. In an Islam fight, I can't trust you if you have that bad of grappling cardio. So pretty low chance against Islam. Now we have Gabriel Bonfim. I think he has a low chance against Islam. He's a decent striker. I think he robbed Wonderboy. But Wonderboy is a great striker, but even with the grappling, he couldn't really get effective grappling going against Wonderboy. And Wonderboy pretty easily outstruck him on the feet besides a cut, in my opinion. And he got grappled mugged by Nicholas Dalby. Dalby was, again, able to put a grappling pace on him, drown him, and make him gas pretty easily, and that's the last time we've seen him put up a heavy grappling pace. And again, if that gasses you out, I can't trust you to beat Islam Makhachev. And he's not shown to be super dangerous recently. Earlier in his career he was, but no real finishes besides the long, lanky guy. Oh, I'm going to get called a casual in the comments again. What's his name? He just fought Kevin Holland. I know his name. What's his name? Come on, everyone knows his name. That's your favorite fighter's favorite. Randy Brown. He finished Randy Brown, but Randy Brown also went to a competitive fight with Kevin Holland, got rocked. I don't rate that highly. I'll give Gabriel Bonfim a low chance. Buckley, low to mid chance / to be determined. Now, a big difference in this fight is whether it's over 5 or 3 rounds. Buckley has great cardio for his size, for his power, for his physicality. I think over 5 rounds, he could have a mid chance against Islam, but over 3 rounds, I'd say low. He has great cardio, even in a high grappling pace fight, as shown in the Usman fight. In that 5th round, able to stuff every takedown against a cardio monster like Usman, able to outstrike him pretty easily. I don't think Islam takes those shots that Buckley was landing on Usman. So I think that's Buckley's best chance. But also I say TBD, because over the weekend, if he can beat Sean Brady, show good defensive grappling, good takedown defense, I'll put it a little higher. I'll say he's improved enough for me to put him a solid mid chance against Islam. He has big thud. Islam has a lot of scar tissue from his past fights. And I think Buckley could open up that scar tissue, cause more problems, make them more slippery. But he does have unproven sub defense as well. No one has ever attempted a sub on Joaquin Buckley, which is kind of surprising in his entire career. So we don't know how good his submission defense is. Or no, I believe he's never been subbed and no one in the UFC has attempted a sub, if I'm not mistaken. But we don't know how good his sub defense is. And of course, it's good enough to stop people from doing that. But without it being too proven, I'm going to have to give him a low to mid chance, but he could change my mind. Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is a mid chance. I almost put him at a high chance, but I'll explain why. He has a great grappling, great takedown defense, but not the best BJJ. When he was taken down by Hamzat, he couldn't get up. And I know it's Hamzat, but when he was taken down by Leon Edwards, he had his back taken pretty easily as well. And I know it was a trip, but that's more to do with takedown defense. Once they were on the ground, Leon Edwards was able to perform pretty good against him. And I know Leon has decent BJJ, but I think once he goes to the ground, Islam will be able to dominate and keep Usman there. The problem would be getting him to the ground, which is what's giving him the chance. I think he has decent power, hasn't shown it as much recently, wasn't able to hurt Leon in both of their fights, really. Maybe some, shots against the cage looked like they maybe bothered Leon, but not really able to hurt him, not able to hurt Hamzat, even in their big brawling moments, and not able to hurt Buckley on the feet. And his striking looked a little regressed in that fight. He wasn't able to really have any striking success against Buckley. And maybe that just shows how good Buckley is on the feet. But I don't know. I think his striking has regressed, which would make sense because he is 38 years old. Another big issue with why I wouldn't put him high difficulty. He's only getting older, not very active. I'll give him a mid chance. Leon Edwards, low chance. He's shown to have very spaghetti-like takedown defense, not very strong. Decent striking. He has pretty good striking, decent to good. He took a round off Prates with mixing up the striking and the grappling, but he's not very dangerous. People don't really have to worry about him on the feet. He has decent BJJ, able to reverse positions against Bilal, able to take down and take the back of Kamaru Usman, but defensively, it's not that great. I don't think he has the greatest defensive grappling, and he slows down over 5 rounds. He's shown to not have the best cardio. He doesn't have bad cardio, but he's shown to not have the best cardio and unproven heart. He does seem to wilt a little bit when the going gets too tough. I know he head kicked Usman in the 5th round, but that was more of a good shot. I wouldn't say that shows great heart. Now we have Sean Brady, a mid chance. This may surprise some people, but I think he's a bad stylistic matchup for Islam. Great cardio, great grappling, decent pressure on the feet. He's good at putting shots together to then chase the takedown, but not the greatest technical striking. He doesn't really have the best striking. I think Islam could just keep this on the feet and outstrike him, and if he does, Brady's shown to have a pretty bad chin, shown to not have the best heart as well. The Bilal fight, he was hurt, but he wasn't out on his feet or anything. He wasn't dropped. He wasn't super duper rocked. He just kind of wilted. And same with the Morales fight. Morales, while he did drop him and he did hurt him, once he was hurt, Brady kind of just started wilting. I think it was more of a heart thing in that fight as well. He kind of was willing to let himself get TKO'd after he got hit with a couple big shots. So I think Islam would be able to do that to him. So I'll give him a mid chance. Bilal Muhammad, best takedown defense in welterweight history, good boxing and pressure striking, did great in the striking against JDM. And I know JDM was just schooled by Prates, but JDM is still a great striker, and Bilal was able to give him everything he could handle, just about. In the striking alone, he has great cardio. He's trained with Islam before, which may give him an advantage. It may give Islam an advantage as well, but he's trained with Islam before. But I will say he doesn't have the greatest danger factor. He wouldn't really be a threat to finish Islam, so he would have to win by decision, which I think will be very hard to do against Islam. But with everything else going for him, I'll give him a high chance against Islam. I think he's a pretty difficult matchup for Islam. JDM, I'm going to just cover this one really quickly, but we've already seen it. No chance. He has good boxing, but once he's pressured with the grappling, even in the Bilal fight, it was shown. Once Bilal really started pressuring with the grappling in that 4th round, he was able to take that round from JDM a little bit. And there was another round where he did it as well. He was able to take from JDM as well, in my opinion. He's taken a lot more damage after that Prates fight as well. And he doesn't have the best grappling IQ. He goes for a lot of subs when he should just go for takedowns, defending the takedowns. He tried to take down Islam from a takedown he already defended and then got taken down. He has okay takedown defense just in general, but it was shown to not be enough against Islam. So all that together, I think even in a rematch, no chance. Michael Morales, high chance. He's a physical specimen, good grappling, judo background, big power, very, very dangerous. A guy as big as Michael Morales will be very hard for Islam to muscle around. He'll have to stay very safe, be very technical, and kind of pitch a perfect fight, I think, for him to beat Morales. But Morales was clinched against the cage for 2 minutes by Neil Magny. That kind of where I know he still won that fight by a 1st round KO, but it shows he can. And I know the clinch is Magny's world, but it shows he can be out grappled or at least out clinched by someone a lot worse than Islam. And I think Islam is stronger than Magny. So that is a path to victory for Islam. Islam is also not just a victim on the feet like Sean Brady, and he has very good grappling. I think he could put it all together. I would still pick Islam but this is a very hard fight. Maybe 55-45 for Islam, 60-40, something around there. Carlos Prates, a mid chance. I think he's the best striker at welterweight right now. He's very long. He has huge power. No one has ever even dropped JDM in the UFC. I think he's only been dropped one time before outside the UFC. So he has big power, able to drop JDM and TKO him. Dropped him 3 times. Great improved footwork and pressure as well. Ever since that Ian Gary fight, he's shown much better pressure, much better countering, much better footwork. And I think he could pose a lot of problems for Islam on the feet. However, he was taken down by JDM and held there at the end of the first round. Then in the second round, he was taken down again. And if JDM hadn't rushed, he would have pretty securely had the back. But unfortunately, JDM did rush and fell off the back. That's very concerning in a possible Islam Makhachev fight. He has okay takedown defense, able to stuff a lot of Ian Gary's. Ian Gary did kind of gas himself by shooting so many takedowns against Prates, really not getting any real control time and only getting a couple takedowns. And Ian Gary has decent takedowns, but I think Prates hasn't shown the greatest takedown defense. So I'll give him a mid chance against Islam, but he very well could keep it standing long enough, put enough damage on Islam. Because Islam, I don't think, is as durable as JDM, and he could give Islam a lot of problems. But I would pretty surely have Islam in that fight. If they were to fight, I'd be pretty safe in my Islam pick, I think. And now, the number one contender, who I think should get the next title shot, Ian Gary. Great defensive and offensive grappling, great range management, great long style, great takedown defense. I think he is a stylistic nightmare for Islam in terms of the X's and the O's. However, he's not very strong. Maybe it's the vegan diet. I have heard rumors that he's off of it, so maybe he's getting a little stronger, and he's not very dangerous. Against these high-level guys, Gary has not shown to be the biggest of a threat on the feet. He almost subbed Islam. He rocked Prates, but there's a lot of almost. He's not shown to actually have that danger factor. So I think he'd have to win a decision against Islam. And like I said earlier, that's a pretty difficult thing to do. But it's also hard to win a decision against Ian Gary. And I think stylistically, it's a pretty difficult fight for Islam. His defense is pretty good on the feet. Islam would have a hard time hitting him clean and consistently. He has great defensive grappling. Bilal couldn't take him down or even sniff a takedown once. He was able to take down JDM. He was able to pressure him. He was able to do a lot of things to JDM in terms of the grappling. JDM was just able to get back up. However, he couldn't even get close to that on Ian Gary. Ian Gary almost subbed Shavkat while having a shorter training camp than Shavkat in the 5th round. Shavkat had a very hard time taking him down, too. Had to resort to clinching him a lot. And that kind of won him the fight on clinch time. But Islam is not the biggest clincher, at least not recently. He doesn't clinch people against the fence, really. He has a great range management, a lot bigger than Islam. Sorry, guys. My computer just died, but I'm back. Trying to remember what I was saying. Oh, yeah. He has a very long style against Islam. He's a great fighter. I think he would give Islam a lot of problems, and I might pick him to beat Islam if they ever do fight, and I think they should fight next. This is almost a 50-50 fight for me. I know a lot of people would disagree with that, but stylistically, I think he's Islam's hardest fight. So I'll give him a high chance against Islam. This is just about a 50-50 fight for me. Maybe I'd favor Islam a little bit, just slightly. But I don't know who I would pick in that fight. But anyway, that's how I think Islam matches up against the rest of the welterweight division. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Remember to like, remember to subscribe. I'll be back with another video tomorrow. I'll see you guys later. Peace.